Okay,
so this is the pattern download that you're going to get, and Pam is going to walk you through how you would make the coaster, and if you want to make it bigger, then you could make it as a pot holder or a trivet if you wanted to. Take it away, Pam.
Okay, so we need 7 hexagons, and we start by laying them on right sides matching.
So does it doesn't really matter where you start at, you just want to overlap them.
You just lay them on, and then when you get to this one, you need to pick this up and put it under. Here we go. Pick this up under. And there's that, and then you want to sew around your edge like a 1/4 of an inch seam, and it'll look like this, and then you turn them.
And there the magic happens.
Push the, get your little, should have a tool to push the corners out. We'll use it. We'll just use it. Just use a scissor.
Just use a scissor. Just don't poke it through.
And if you want to finish it, you can put a stitch around the...
Oh, top stitch around the
top
outside.
stitch. That's the word. And you can also do it with wool, and then you would only need a single or a half hexie, and those go the same way around, and then hand stitched.
That's nice too. So if you're doing the pot holder or the trivet or whatever you want to call it, where does the batting go? How do you do the batting?
You will start with the batting.
Oh, so it would just be the batting on the
batting,
bottom,
and then you want to lay your outside fabric facing up, right side up, and then you will put all your hexagons, folded hexagons, match your on the right side.
Okay, and then after that it's the same procedure.
Yes, then you just turn it again, and if you want to do your top stitching, you can do your top stitching. And if you want to put an extra
piece in there, that's
to cover
where the
this
piece would go.
Yeah.
So 7 or 8.
7 or 8, whatever you want to do.
Very good. Thank you, Pammy. We have kits for that we're selling as well. Those are $7.99, and they make each, right?
A pot holder. And there's enough batting in there if you want to make, there's enough for 2 pot holders. Unless you want to make it extra thick, then just use both. Use 2 layers of batting, 1 or 2 layers, whatever you want to do. And so you get a coaster and a pot holder.
All right, there you go. If you have questions, you can email us and let us know. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day. I love your tree.
So this was Mel's pattern that she used today for her demo. And here are some of the little ornaments that you could make from them. So you can buy the pattern, and you can buy a kit to make 1 ornament, or you can buy a kit to make all 6 of the ornaments. It's up to you. So Mel's going to explain how she made her little ornaments.
Hi everybody. This particular designer, Buttermilk Basin, asks that you trace your designs onto Wonder Under. And so in order to do that, you need to trace each of the shapes that are from the pattern onto Wonder Under. So what I do is I just get a piece and I traced there. You can see there's just 2 colors to all of the ornaments. So I traced all the shapes of the houses, just kind of like that, you know, just with a pencil on the paper side of the Wonder Under. And I put like all the brown pieces, you know, I trace those first and I number them just so I keep track of which house it is when I'm done. And then try to very carefully space them onto your wool because you don't want to waste your wool. Wool's expensive, and so just be real careful to try, you know, leave a little bit extra around all your shapes, but snug them as close as you can when you're ironing them on.
Cut out cookies. When you do cut out cookies,
that's true.
Put those really close together. So do that with your wool too.
Yeah, and just do that with the white, which would be the icing or the snow on top of everything there. And then I just did a blanket stitch around every shape. I used a stapler and stapled them to the top layer of the house. Did all my blanket stitch. When I was done, I also applied the buttons if they called for a button or an embellishment of some kind. And then after I was done, I cut out the same shape, just the outside out of the brown, and then that made a sandwich to cover up your stitching on the back side. And then just stitch all the way around. And then the string that's wrapped around your kit is enough to do a couple of the hanger strings. So I hope you have fun making it. Oh, I also used the cotton petite threads, and I did these two colors and then a solid pearl cotton or Valdani out around the outer edges. You can use a chenille 22 needle, that works really well, or an embroidery needle of some kind. We also sell a packet of kind of different colors of brown buttons that work really well for this color palette.
So she used them for the doorknobs.
Yes.
She used them for the gingerbread man.
Yes, it trims there. The tree called for them. I was working on my model at home and I didn't have buttons at the time, so I just did French knots.
So you can use French knots. If you don't have the buttons, you could do that too. Or a little piece of wool if you wanted to too, so whatever. So there you go. If we can help you with any of those things, let us know. Thank you. Here's the video of the tree project. So taking your pattern, you're going to need to take A and B, cut them, and then A is going to go on to B, so you have just one big template. You're going to cut 2 of those pieces of each of your fat quarters. You need 2 fat quarters to complete this project. You're also, before you do that, make sure that you cut an 18.5 by 5 rectangle from whichever one you're going to use of the base, for the base of your tree. So whichever one of the fat quarters you're going to do that, cut that first, and then cut 2 triangles from each of the other ones. Okay, these 4 pieces get sewn together, just how the pattern shows you how to do. It'll show you starting at the top and then sewing down, and then sew those 4 together so you have like a cone with your little tree. If you bought the kit, there's spools in there if you don't, and the trims. So however you want to decorate it, you could. This would be a great time to use some vintage pins and decorate with your Christmas vintage pins if you have a pin collection. So the bottom, it gets sewn onto the base of your fat quarters, your bigger pieces at the bottom. That's where the base goes. And you're going to make a casing there. The rectangle gets sewn together to make like a circle. Then the circle gets attached to the base. You have a casing, and then you draw it up. We just kind of left it there because we thought that was kind of pretty at the bottom, but you do that. You can make that go away if you want to. You can add your trims. Those just get glued on there, whatever kind of trims you want to add. And then we added a rusty star at the top too, so there you go. Have fun with it. All right, here we are with Mr. Elmer and Miss Lois. So there's the cute little Elmer, and here's Miss Lois to show you her project.
Okay. Hi, we have Elmer the Gnome. He's made out of wool, or you can use felt, whatever color choice you want. This is the pattern here, and we trace the pattern on some freezer paper. lay the freezer paper on top of the pattern like this, with the shiny side down, and trace around your pattern. Once that's done, you lay the shiny side of your freezer paper on top of your fabric that you're going to cut out. Lightly, very lightly iron it on your fabric. Don't do what I did. I left the iron on it too long and I burned it. But just a light iron press is good. And once that's done, you take your scissors and trim around the pattern. Do that for all the pieces and have them all laid out once they're all cut out. Also, when you do cut it out, the pattern, make sure you cut it out along the edge. Don't cut it inside the edge, but on the outside of the edge of the pattern. Okay. To give it strength or stiffness, using the base pattern, this is it. Cut out using fusible fleece and bead this. Or I use an index card or an old greeting card, and cut a 1/4 inch smaller than the pattern. This will help give it a little bit of strength, you know, to hold him together, and you can put him on a tree for an ornament or on a gift package.
Oh, package would be cute.
Okay, and then to assemble, we lay the base down, put the stiffener on top. This would be your base. The stiffener on top, or the paper. Lay the shirt down and you staple it. Okay. To assemble, lay your base down and put your stiffener, whatever you're using, on top of your base. This or this. Add the other pieces, his shirt, his beard, mustache, or his shirt and his hat. And once that's on, staple it. Just like this. And that'll hold it in place. Because after it's finished, you're going to blanket stitch all the way around. Then, to put his shoes on, we're going to tuck his shoes in underneath here, staple those. Next is his hat, which will be up here. The next thing is his beard and mustache, and I just use glue to put the beard and the mustache on, and his nose.
And she just used some tacky glue.
Yes. Now before I put the hat part on the body of Elmer, I went ahead and sewed the snowflake on and drew my string through. And then after that was attached, that's when I laid everything together. Once it's stapled, once these pieces are glued on, then the next thing I do is blanket stitch all the way around. And you can catch the bottom here of his feet all the way around, up around here. His mustache and his beard are loose. It's just glued down, same as his nose.
So there you go. Another thing, when you talked about using it as a gift tag, if you wanted to, there's a little bit of room above his nose. If you wanted to stitch the name and personalize it, you could do that too.
Well, that's a good idea.
And everybody could
Yes.
have their own Elmer. So
Yeah.
all right, there you go. Pretty easy to do. So thank you, Lois, for sharing. This is directions for how to do this nativity pillow. You're going to first of all start with a towel and we used a black towel. And your instructions have each of the little designs drawn here, and what you need to do is trace those onto an adhesive like Heat and Bond or Wonder Under, and doesn't matter, they can be reversed because they're the same no matter which way you put them on the pillow. But it will tell you how many to do. You cut 2 of this one, so you're gonna trace 2 of those on your Heat and Bond, and then you'll cut around, leaving a little margin around the outside edge of the tracing, and then you'll iron it on your fabric, and then you'll cut it out. And once you get all of your pieces cut out, you're gonna place them on the pillow. And I just, there is no diagram on your instructions of how big to make it. You can make it smaller. You can maybe stretch it out a little bigger. I just did it so that a little bit of the roof hung over the posts here, and that the 2 pieces met in the middle. And if you wanted a little bigger, the star will cover the space. So it's whatever you decide. I will tell you, when you are tracing your star onto the Heat and Bond, you'll have some fabric left over. Use a little inch and a half piece long piece of that fabric, and then you'll just cut it, snip it a little bit to make your little hay sticking out of your manger. And once I ironed them all on my towel, I just sewed close to the edge, so it's kind of a raw edge applique. The raw edge is not turned under or finished or anything. It's just straight stitched around. If you don't like that, you could use a blanket stitch on your machine, or do it by hand, something else. But I just did that because it was quick and easy. And then after I got that on there, I folded my towel in half and left an opening at the bottom, and then I stitched around, and then when I got up to the top, I left the same kind of margin or seam that was along the sides up at the top to make that little lip or whatever you want to call that, and then left it open at the bottom to stitch, and then sewed it closed. I did use a zipper foot when I did the outside edge of the pillow so that I could get close with the stuffing, you know. I guess that's it. Yep. And if you want to make him littler, there you go. He's as an ornament. So. Or you could, I also have done this as in paper and made Christmas cards. So there you go. Lots of ideas for you.